13.
Yes, sir.
We started at 12:30.
We don't know which one. Oh, God, I hate this.
Oh, look, it's going everywhere. Hang on. Has anybody got a
Where is the man?
Oh, look, it's everywhere.
Can't bear this bloody thing. What they do is everyone's stinking.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Friday podcast. It is finally Friday. Hope everyone had a fantastic week and wishing you all a great weekend. And don't forget that today is live chat day. So if you had anything that you wanted to get off your chest, give your 2 cents, or just say hi, please click the link in the comments live chat box, and it's also pinned to the top. So just hit the link. A lot of people think that you have to actually call in. No, it's just a link that you click, and then you will be given access to the back end, and it's pretty straightforward. Once you get into the back end and you see it, and I'll unmute you, and then you can talk. So welcome to the chat, everyone. Thank you, mods, as always. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed already, we are powering all the way to 12K. So we're almost there. Hello, Sambi. Yes. Happy Healthy Mental Sussex Squad family. Reach out for help, please. You're equally important. Yes, indeed. Sorry, I have not been as good as Baron with keeping on top of the awareness days. But yes, it was a mental health awareness day, and of course, Megan and Archwell and the other organizations that they're working with did release quite a lot of resources. So go and make use of those. It's obviously also Black History Month, and on Twitter, there are quite a few squaddies who are doing a really good job of highlighting some amazing Black figures. And I believe it's also, oh gosh, what else is it? There was also they were raising awareness with the NHS here in the UK to do with sickle cell. I think it's also Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But yeah, just all in all, if you have not recently, and I know that it's something that a lot of people do tend to forget, get your health checked this month. Make sure you're up to date with all your vitals, and both mentally and physically. So that's my reminder for you. And go over to Baron, who's doing a much better job than me at just keeping up to date with all of the other important non-squaddy things that go on. Right. Hello, Auntie Loman. Have you opened the bar? Popped open the champagne, the beer, everything. Dolores, hi, chosen to be his. Maggie, you love the music. I'm glad you love the music. Yes, chosen to be his. We ain't giving up. I believe that we are on the winning team. Hi, Cinderella, and I'm so glad that I did not fall prey to a lot of the lies and the smear campaign. Official Lauren Brown, did I? Oh, no, I didn't see your email. I will check, and thank you for letting me know. So, sometimes I don't always check the email, and I definitely don't regularly check the junk. So thank you, and I will have a look after the podcast. Thank you so much for the super chat as well. Oh, thank you for taking care of the troll, Karen. All right, so I've gotten through all your comments. Welcome everyone, and let's get started. So we'll start with some of the positive things. There's quite a few nice things that have come out since yesterday. So, Missam Harryman, sorry, who is the photographer that does a lot of Harry and Meghan's amazing photographs that we've seen, including the ones at the One Young World event, is now the official photographer for Save the Children UK and ambassador also. So, uh, fantastic news for a friend of Harry and Meghan's who has done some amazing work, given us some amazing photos, and is clearly a very loyal friend and part of their circle. So it's great to see friends of Harry and Meghan doing amazing things and working with amazing organizations and making a difference. Service, of course, is universal. And Kerry Kennedy tweeted this earlier today. She said, I'm thrilled to celebrate these incredible laureates at our upcoming gala for RFK Human Rights. Please join us on December 6th in New York for an evening honoring bravery, inspiring change, and exposing injustice. And you've got a picture of all of the honorees, and of course, Harry and Meghan there, and Zelensky, and others. So cannot wait for that, and can't wait to see what Meghan is going to be wearing. And you know that the press are just going to die when they see that picture of Harry and Meghan and Zelensky and his wife. So can't wait for that. Also, Archetypes is getting some positive coverage in some printed press as well. I didn't actually catch which newspaper or magazine this was printed in, but I believe it was a UK one. And a Squaddy had posted this. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Meghan and Deepika discuss mental health issues. So nice article saying good things about the podcast. Also, Invictus tweeted this: buy a tea, plant a tree. For every order placed on the Invictus Games Foundation merchandise shop this weekend, one tree will be planted. So you can go check out the store on the Invictus Games website and you can get yourself a t-shirt and help with the environment as well. So countdown to Invictus is on, just under a year to go. And of course, it will be in Dusseldorf. So if anybody is planning on going or volunteering, please let me know, and we can. I'd love to have anybody who's volunteering actually come on the show and talk about their experience, what it was like. So please keep that in mind as we get closer to the time. And if you are going, I would definitely love to try and organize something where squaddies can meet. In British politics news, guess who is out and has been given the boot? Quasi. Hang on a sec. Oh, where is my slide? Where is my slide for Quasi? Oh, have I not put it on here? Okay, so Quasi was given the boot, basically, is what I was gonna say. He is no longer Chancellor, and I mean, just imagine you allow yourself to be used as a puppet. Now he is basically, oh no, that's not it either. I think I've forgotten the slide. Yeah, now he is basically the face of an economic disaster, and they booted him out during Black History Month. The irony of it all. But that's really what you get for allowing yourself to be used as a puppet. When the history books are written, it's going to be his face attached to this. And of course, Quasi was an employee of a very wealthy hedge fund manager who made hundreds of millions when the pound crashed because he bet against the pound. And now people are talking about whether or not Liz Truss is going to last very long. The Daily Star have a live YouTube feed titled "Can Liz Truss Outlast a Lettuce?" I guess this is the UK version of Anthony Scaramucci. Like, he didn't last as long as, what was it, like a jug of milk? So now people are counting down to see if Liz Truss can outlast a lettuce. And she probably won't. I think that by next week she will likely be gone. There's already talk between Tory ministers to give her the boot. So I guess we'll see where we'll go from here. Kwasi did release a statement saying, "You have asked me to stand down as a chancellor, and I have accepted." And he ended by saying, "Your success is a country's success, and I wish you well." I mean, this is a woman who turned her back on her Republican values, on her anti-monarchy values, and decided to become an establishment individual herself. So I just don't see that the country will have any success under her or anybody in the Tory party. Now, because of all of this that's been going on and the mess, Labour are now starting to get ahead in polling. And let me just say that um, I'm someone who believes that voting itself is not enough. It's part of, exercising, democratic rights as an individual. But when that person gets in power, even if they are your own, one needs to hold them accountable to what they said that they were going to do. There needs to there needs to be a continuation of a grassroots community action that I think has been lost. So I feel like people shouldn't just automatically assume that just because Labour gets in, that everything is suddenly going to get better. Because there are even people in Labour, especially in the higher ranks, who will answer to the establishment before they answer to the people. So just a warning. But that is most of the British politics. And the only other thing that I wanted to mention was, yes, the one of the ministers that Liz Truss put in has basically come out today and said that nurses, if they don't like how things are in the NHS, can just leave if they want to. I don't know where she thinks that these people are going to go, because if you're trained as a nurse, it's a speciality, right? It's not like a graphics designer that can probably retrain very quickly to become an animator or something like that, right? A lot of these roles are specialized, and there's a certain also level of care that goes into nursing. And this is the same government that told us all to clap for nurses, called them heroes, and now, after all their sacrifice to keep us safe during the pandemic, offers them really crappy terms and cuts their pay and says they can leave if they want to. It is indeed, as Peter said, utterly shameless and utterly detestable. And for those of you who live in the UK, you need to be prepared for private healthcare. Get ready, it's coming. I can tell you now, speaking to many people who I know who work for the NHS in senior positions, privatized healthcare is absolutely coming. So prepare for it. All right, let's get through your comments before we get into the next part of the podcast. And yes, if anybody does want to join the chat, please do join now. Otherwise, we will cut the podcast short with just the main updates. Joyce, do we know where the gala will be? No, don't know where it will be. Not yet, anyway. Hi, Sandy Love. Thank you so much for the super sticker, darling. Oh, Karen M, you are going to Germany. Amazing. Amazing, amazing. I hope to get there as well. Official Lauren, I can see you in the back end and you are absolutely gorgeous, but I need you to turn off your camera. So it's just audio when you join the chat. Thank you so much. I'll let you speak in a moment. Yeah, Gwendolyn got what he deserves for being stupid. Chosen to be here, you said that he would not be there for much longer. Yeah, yeah. V, no sympathy for his gatekeepers, as Dr. Scholler said. Yes. Listen, I'm not against any person of color or any black person getting into these higher positions and vying for these higher positions. I'm also more than aware that black people, we are not a monolith, and yes, there are some people who consider themselves to be aligned with a right-wing politics, and so therefore they're not necessarily uncomfortable with being part of whether it's Conservative Party here in the UK or the Republican Party in the US. However, you still need to be aware that you may find yourself in a position like Kwasi where you are just used. Just because you get in those spaces doesn't necessarily mean that you will be on equal footing with others more privileged in those spaces. And yes, Wendy, you'll often be used as a foreperson. Marie, trust work for Shell. Yes, and that's probably why our energy bills are through the roof. Uh, just give me 1 sec, folks. 1 sec. Sorry about that, folks. I am back. All right, so I'm just gonna get through your comments, and then I will let official Lauren speak. Yes, Benjamin, gatekeepers. That's what Dr. Scholler said. All right. So, I'm sorry if you all didn't hear me. I just had to put it on pause because somebody knocked on my door. So official Lauren, you can go. Hello.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Welcome to the chat, sweetheart.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
No worries. Go right ahead.
All right. Okay. Well, I really, uh, I think I first want to express my sympathies because it just seems like there's so much constantly going on with the UK right now as far as finding stability and lack thereof. And I find it very interesting because one of the things that is hailed with the monarchy is the fact that they are to provide stability, right? That's kind of this
Yes.
narrative, like they keep everybody feeling like there's a sense of continuation. And then when you
Yes.
have all of these ministers kind of going in and out, you're kind of asking yourself, okay, so what really is the stability? But in many ways, because I am in the US and I do not have a monarchy, it's kind of like, who am I to say anything? But
Mhm.
it, it doesn't look so great from the outside. What I will say is that, and I'll keep it brief. I find it very. You make an excellent point about the. Hold on, I'm just going to pull up my notes. You make an excellent point about the voting. Voting is more than voting. I always say this: politicians are not priests, right?
Mhm.
And in order to get them to do what it is that we want, regardless of party, um, you have to put pressure on them. It's the pressure that actually makes the change. I mean, we see that with,
Yes.
um, the young girls in what is it, Iran, Afghanistan? I can't remember the
Yes.
country at the moment.
Yeah,
You
Iran.
know,
Iran.
Iran, yeah, where it's the pressure that makes the change. And what I find, and I think this is a global situation as far as the more progressive parties, you tend to, because the progressive parties include such a large swath of people,
Mhm.
there is always this pressure to make everybody happy. And in making everybody happy, nobody's happy. And when you look more at conservative parties, and this is in the US, this is in, the UK, it's everywhere. There's usually one loud message. And I think we're starting to see that message more and more as progressives become quite fed up with the state of things. What's really
Mhm.
interesting is, as you were talking about with trust, that there's also in the more conservative side also a level of being fed up. So I'm excited to see, and by excited, I really mean cautiously optimistic slash unsure, to see what is going to be the outcome of this. And yeah, does she outlast lettuce?
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, uh, I love everything that you've just said, and you're right. Politicians are not priests, and they're also not your friends. I
Yeah.
feel like we're living in an era of almost like this celebritization of politicians, where people have this very strange parasocial relationship with politicians. And
Mhm.
I've always felt, just because I voted you in office because I feel that you can do the job.
Job.
I don't
Mhm.
vote for someone because I like them personally. It's about them being able to do the job. But I
Yeah.
love what you've said, Official Lauren, and thank you for graciously commenting on British politics. With the royals, how did you feel about the 2 weeks of the Queen's funeral? I know that there was a lot of coverage in the US. Did you think it was too much? Did you ignore it completely? I'd love to know
Mhm.
your
Mhm.
opinion about that.
Well, I mean, I've attended enough funerals to kind of know in the end it's, and I say this respectfully, a person in a box going down or into another larger box. So at a certain point, it's a bit like spoilers, we know what's happening. I think where my empathy came in was just thinking about Harry and Prince Harry and
Mhm.
Princess Meghan, um, where, I know that for them it's a family member who's lost. But beyond
Yes.
that, as someone whose ancestry comes from a country that said, we're good, very, very loudly, we're good with the Commonwealth and with the monarchy, I have to agree with those sentiments. And therefore, I felt it was a bit overlong. I think everyone
Yes.
understood that something historic happened
Mhm.
and her passing was I think it was felt enough, and I feel like it was a little manipulative. I say this humbly because, of course, I'm not in the country and, different relationship. I come from a place where we elect, whether or not we want to, certain politicians. But,
Mm.
it just seemed a little bit manipulative of the populace who
Yes.
um, feel one way or another, but, are they supposed to sit Shiva? And I say that with respect as well to the Jewish community. I have Jewish ancestry as well. But it's just like, it's just there's a lot going on and there was a lot happening to everybody that it felt a little
Yes.
unaware to make
Yes.
this the only thing. Like this was the biggest thing, there's people who have lost people, there's people who can't pay for their food. So I liked when you would say about donating to food banks. I felt like that was a very efficacious approach to the situation, and it really would have been a great PR opportunity for that family.
Yes.
To appear more one with the people. And I think they lost that touch after World War, whichever one Queen Elizabeth was riding vehicles in. That idea of knowing we have to put on and show and be part of the struggle with the people. I,
Yeah.
that's one of the things that won people over in her time, and it's very clear that they've lost that understanding since then.
Yeah, but it's very difficult. How do you appear to be one of the people, but at the same time, um, keep that mystery and mystique that the Queen had that also made her
Hmm.
so powerful, right? But
Hmm.
thank you so much for your contributions, Official Lauren. That was
Totally.
lovely of you. Thank you. And also to what Official Lauren said at the very beginning about, the monarchy being held as this symbol of continuity. I I often feel like with things like that, when it comes to the monarchy, it's like they're like slogans that are given to you to recite to make you um, believe a narrative, but in reality, um, that narrative does not actually relate in reality, and we're seeing that now. So thank you so much, Lauren. Flame, I'm gonna let you speak. Hello, 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 Flame,
Oh, hello. I'm
Flame.
sorry. Hello. I didn't know you were talking to me. Can you hear me? Uh-oh.
I can hear you, but
Yeah.
you're a little bit fuzzy though.
I'm. I didn't know. Can you hear me?
I can hear you a little bit more now, but you're still a bit fuzzy.
Okay. I'll see if I can try to fix it. I'm not sure how.
All right, I'll give you a moment to try and fix it, and then I'll maybe let you in after. Lights of the moon. Hello, hello.
Hi, happy Friday, everyone.
Happy Friday to you, Han.
Uh, um, Man, I had so many things I wanted to talk about today from the podcast, but with what you just said about the politicians and the most recent conversation, I think I'm just gonna leave the commentary to that piece, and I just wanted to add my 2 cents in, especially following up from the caller that you just had on the line. So as far as like holding our politicians and our representatives accountable, I think that's something that we as a society, not just in the UK, but here in the US. And I mean, as you can see, like in Iran right now, right, where you're mentioning what's going on with the protests and everything, and the uprising for the younger generation for fighting for their rights, right, and wanting to be heard. So I think that, I think we're in a pivotal time right now in a history where we have an opportunity to start looking at what we can do to start having them listen to us, because what you said is correct. It's not just with the UK politicians, it's also here in the United States. There's a lot that's going on right now here, and one of the common themes I'm seeing is that, you have these individuals that get elected, and they pitch the most glamorous speech ever to get you to vote for them, you know? And once they get into office, it almost seems like you're forgotten. They already have their ticket and they're where they want to be. And, the stuff that matters to you, the stuff that matters to the little people, the ones that are feeling the economic impacts and, whatever else might be going on within our communities, we're sitting there waiting for some answers and waiting for things to happen. And it just doesn't come up. And, I'm really wondering if there is, I mean, I'm not wondering, I'm pretty sure this is kind of what's happening, that they are getting their pockets lined some other way. I think
Mm.
that, you know, it doesn't make sense to me when you're going in and you're supposed to be representing the people, and you're pushing another agenda. And it makes me wonder, I'm like, well, why are you doing that? Who's like whispering in your ear and telling you to talk about this, or to vote for that, when that's not what your constituents want? And some of the things that I think, for the US, I don't know how it works in the UK. I'm not really familiar with how the elections go with the prime ministers or the representatives, but a couple of things that people are talking about here in the US is having term limits for her representatives.
Of
That
course.
could,
Yes.
yeah, because that puts a different rounded finality to what your job is when you get into that position, right?
Yes.
And you got to really think hard. Well, am I going to want to continue this if I have to only serve X amount of time? When I get
Yes.
elected again, yeah, when I get it elected again, if that is a possibility, what am I going to do different? How am I going to get these people to vote for me? And how do I show that while I'm currently in that position right now? You know?
But to what you said about the somebody whispering in their ears. Well, I mean, to give an example of Liz Truss, right? One of her biggest donors is someone who's married to someone who worked for a major energy company, and that particular donor, I forget her name, but she was actually in a carriage at Ascot with Carol Middleton and Carol Middleton's husband. So it very much is a revolving door often, with these people in power, and who can give the most money, and if I give you this money, then when you get in office, do this. So I think there's a lot of like profiteering and racketeering that goes on both sides, both in the US and in the UK.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. Yeah. Um, you know, there's a saying, to those who much is given, much is expected. And I think that, instead of remembering that this is what I need to do for these people, and there's a bigger picture in what needs to get done to move our society forward, I feel like a lot of that is forgotten once they get into the office. And
Mm.
they're, to me, it feels like they're straight up lying to us, obviously, and then they go into office and they do something completely different. So it is exhausting. And I think part of, they talk about the younger generation here, the young voters in the States, are they going to come out? Are they going to vote? And it's always a toss up. It's a wild card, because part of getting the young voters to kind of get out and vote is to inspire them enough or make them believe that something is going to actually happen. And a lot of us are jaded. We
Yeah,
see what's happened, we see what's been there, and we're like, well, what's the point? Which is
yeah,
a bad way to look at it. But at the same time, they need to figure out how they're going to inspire us to step up and getting our voices heard more regularly, because I think that's going to be a big issue. And the reason why a lot of us don't do it is because we don't see any change, and we see the status quo still there.
yeah. Well, I think
So
the beginning phases are definitely having conversations like this, and thank you so much for that light side of the moon.
thank you.
Yeah, no worries. All right. Before I go on to the next bit of the podcast, I just wanted to finish up with a couple more of the stories that I had, and then we will just end with live chat. So Rahini and Karen and Flame, just give me one sec. So I did not know that Ford Fiesta was still in Africa. I would not have known unless I was on the royal streets, but she is still there, apparently doing a tour. She was in Botswana and the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda as part of her solo tour. There is still drama going on with Rwanda and deportation flights. And you have this politician running around from the Tory party singing about how she would absolutely be thrilled to see deportation flights to Rwanda. So I don't know what Sophie's doing there, what impact she's having. I just know that I continue to be disappointed by our African leaders for allowing these PR shows to continue when these people come with nothing. Um, Apparently in Malawi, to mark World Sight Day, they announced that the country has actually successfully eliminated trachoma, and it's the leading cause of blindness in Malawi, and that's the first country in Southern Africa to reach this goal. So amazing accomplishment for Malawi. This was tweeted by the royal family Twitter, and Charles did actually send a letter. But again, it's like, you send these PR releases, you post it on your Twitter page, but did you help with that goal? No, you did not. Are you having conversations with these countries so we can be on a more equal footing with trade, with politics? No, you're not. You're just using them for PR, and these countries are getting nothing in return. And it's really on both the leaders and I think the people in these countries to step up and say, do you know what, enough is enough. We're not going to allow you to use us for PR anymore while we're getting nothing back. And I think this is something that in the Caribbean, they're doing a very good job at it. A lot of the countries saying, you know what, we don't want the Queen as head of state anymore. We're going to remove her, Jamaica, Barbados. But I'd like to see more of that from Africa. Aside from that, yes, William, I think some of you have seen the video. I'm not going to play it here because I might get done for copyright or something, but there was a very funny video of William trying some boxing. According to the Telegraph, he revealed that a knuckle injury halted his promising boxing career. Apparently, William had a promising boxing career. We did not know about this. And he was at the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park, that's in Stratford, where we had the Olympics, to mark the 10th birthday of Coach Call, which was set up in response to the 2011 London riots. I remember the 2011 London riots. I don't particularly remember anyone in the royal family commenting on them or why they started. But here he is, years later, trying to get free PR from the charity that was set up in response to it. And yeah, I posted it as the last video. Go watch it. It was hilarious, and go have a laugh. But with that, we will just go straight into the chat and live calls, and y'all can say whatever you want about the royals, about British politics. Let's just enjoy our evening hot chocolate, matcha tea, wine, whatever it is you've poured, and have a good chat. So, Rahini, hello, hello.
Hello.
Hi, how
Can
are
you hear
you?
me?
Yes, I can
Hi,
hear
I'm
you.
good. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for allowing me. I just wanted to again thank all the squaddies for all their well wishes with my situation and to kind of give them an update. Apparently, GoFundMe does not allow me in my country to do that,
Oh,
but
sorry. Wait. I am so sorry. I did not even realize what your situation was. Could you please explain?
well, it would the heavy rains in the past few weeks. There was a lot of flooding,
Oh,
so I've kind of
okay.
sort of lost everything.
Oh my
But
gosh,
you know
I'm
what?
so
I
sorry,
could just
Brahini.
I'll just steal from my sister's wardrobe. That's all.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm
Yeah, so
so
I'm
sorry
trying
to
to
hear
figure that
that.
out. But and I know this squad said they wanted to help, but as GoFundMe is not allowing me to do that. That's why I haven't done anything. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Just
I'll figure it out.
if
I'll
there's
figure
if
it
there's
out
any
somehow.
if there's any other kind of ways we can help you, yeah,
Mm,
just pop me an email. Like I always say with these things, I can't, personally promote these things, and it's up to squad to see if they want to donate, but you're free to email
yeah.
me and I'll put things out there, and then it's up to people to decide. But I'm so sorry to hear that you lost some of your belongings.
Well, they're just things, and the flooding and the landslides is bad for everybody. A lot of
Mm.
people they had things. Karen and I was talking about it, and I was telling her about a situation where a 13-year-old boy he was trapped in his home because
Oh dear.
the river took the road. So
Mm.
um
Seems to be like a
and he
lot
was
of
alone
extreme
in the
weather.
house for days before they got to him. So his family couldn't get there. Everybody else was at work or school, and he was kind of stuck. So when I think of things in that light, I'm how to put it? It's kind of hard to feel sorry for yourself. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So I
mm.
tend to not do it. But I wanted to thank these ladies because they really, made me feel good about it. The well
Oh,
wishes and so forth. So I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out
oh,
somehow. I'll figure it out. So,
oh. Well, thank
um,
you all squaddies for supporting Rahini the best you could.
Good. But I wanted to let the British squaddies know that they are not alone in this idea of politicians that are beyond stupid and out of touch when it comes to them doing their job and what is necessary for them. I can tell you right now in my country in Trinidad, the they remove a lot of the subsidies um on gas and so forth, and the gas went up. And we
Mm.
had a politician that actually said, and I quote, to lose weight, he is going to ride his bicycle to pump.
Oh God,
And he advised us, instead of using gas, to get a coal pot. You know the coal pot?
a coal pot, like
A
like
coal
what we
pot.
used to use
It's like a
in the old
fireside.
days. Oh
Yes.
gosh.
With his whole chest. And he said, Madam Speaker, I still have a coal pot. And it was like, oh my God. And you're wondering if these people, if they think about what they're going to say before they say it. And
No,
they
there
say
was
it with their
there.
whole chest. They say it with
Sorry,
their
there
whole
was
chest.
actually a similar thing. There was a similar thing here in the UK. They said that you should build a brick fireplace outside to save money on gas. I saw this on a morning show.
Oh gosh, I have to mute my mic for a while. I'm at work.
Okay, all right then. Thank you so much. Anyway, Rahini. Karen, hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you doing? Hi, Squatty.
Fantastic.
How is everyone doing?
Thanks for
Rahini, so
joining us.
yeah, you're welcome. Rahini, is so glad to it's so good to hear you. We had a good conversation the other night. Trying to see how you are. So it's good to hear you. Um, Anyway, I wanted to follow up on the other callers in regards to um, the politics. My question
Mm,
is, the royals say they stay out of politics. They stay out of um, any decisions of the government or politics and all that stuff. But yet still they have this weekly meeting.
Yeah.
And I don't know how is that separate and them staying out of it, because if you're getting a weekly update and you have to be in responding. So how is it that you're staying out of it? So, and the first caller was mentioning about you know um, their position as she look at it is to bring stability and calm. Um, you would think that is it, but I think they do way more than that. I don't even think that like the government is supposed to be above them, but it seems like they're above the government when it comes to the UK. So to me, they're basically running things. They even have a party that they decide on, right? Which is the Tories over
Labour.
the Labour Party. So I mean to say that tells me there's a whole lot of involvement in there.
But even
So
even the current leader of the Labour Party, Keir Starmer, he was given a
mhm,
knighthood. So still very much,
exactly,
even on the other side, still very much part of the establishment.
exactly, and it seems like every single time someone is to stand up to speak out or voice an opinion or anything, all of a sudden they're getting these knighthoods and these awards and stuff like that. And like why are you giving out these things as soon as someone is to stand up to you or the royals or speak out? There is this a way to shut them up or something? I don't know. Maybe just know they're going to give Dr. Shula one of those things. So you know, but it's just ridiculous. I really tip my hat to the women in uh, I gone blank now,
Iran.
um in Iran, because they had enough, just like I had enough. It's like enough is enough. Every time there's an election, in my country, in the US, the UK, basically, all over the world is the same thing. It's the same ongoing thing. It's like a revolving door, as you mentioned. You know, like I'm so exhausted. I just give up on the politics and the different leaders, because what I find is that every time there's an election, someone goes in there, they just carry on with the same foolishness. Okay, it's the
Yeah.
same playbook, and they just carry on with it,
Mm.
right? So
Yeah, and
they're not
I think
listening.
more and more people are starting to actually question that.
Yeah, I'm just fed up. When someone come to me and tell me about elections, I said that again. I'm not in no encouragement to go and and vote, because I'm seeing the same thing going on over and over again. You're not helping me, and I don't see me getting help in any way,
Mm.
right? So and I find that people vote for like I see this with the Obama situation, where there's things that he run on in terms of the health care for the US,
Mm.
and which was something great. And also when he went in there, he took over a country that was like really messed up from the Bushes. Like the
Mm.
country was in a recession stage where you know and he had to basically bail it out. And for some reason, the people that vote him in there, they forget as soon as he got in there, and they forget that this man has to build the country from how low it fell and build it back. And that doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah,
And
it takes
everything
time.
that happened, they're blaming him for. Like, why are you blaming him? Why aren't you blaming the one before and see what he's trying to do? And it's the same thing when Trump took over, okay?
Mm.
They're giving Trump all this credit of all the stuff that's being done, not, realizing that this is something that Obama did, but this is the amount of time, these are the years that it takes for you to actually see, okay, the results of the good that was done. And because Trump is in it, he's getting the credit for it. So it's a whole cycle that goes on, and people tend to forget what happened before. When the other one comes in, what they have to do, how they have to pick up the country and move it, and the years that it takes for a country to build. I mean, to say,
Yeah,
look at the state that England is in. England is in right now. You think that's going to turn around? Even if
of
they bring
course.
somebody else in there,
Yeah.
it's not.
Of course.
That's not
It
how.
it takes
That's not how it
time.
works.
It takes
It
time,
takes
and
time to
I
do that.
think on both sides, both the UK and the US, yes, I do think we do need a state of reform. But thank you so much
Mhm.
for that, Karen. Lovely to hear your voice again.
You too. You too. And we
Thank
would let's
you.
talk about.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay, I'll let you. If we've got time at the end, I will let you back on. I'll let Valerie go now. Hi, Valerie. How are you?
Hello, Anne, how are you keeping?
Fantastic, hon. Lovely to hear your voice.
Okay, how was your lesson, your judo lesson?
It was amazing. I had a bit of a bad fall on my neck, but the judo instructor did some magic massage thing, and when I woke up the next morning, my neck was not as bad as I thought it would be. But I'm a lot less
That's
sore now.
good.
Thank you for asking.
That's good. There is a petition going around for us to have a general election because they said that the government is in chaos now.
Okay,
Also,
just to clarify, is that change.com petition or is that an official parliamentary petition?
a parliamentary petition.
Okay,
So I
good,
signed it. Yeah, signed it. So I think they
good.
had about 500,000 people signed it because they say that they don't want thing, they just want a general election.
Mm,
Also now there's pushing for political reform because we need proportional representation because this two-party state isn't working at all. Because when you have two parties, you one person does one thing and you don't think so. Now basically they said that they want proportional representation now. Keir Starmer doesn't want to have it, but I think that at the Labour conference, it was overwhelmingly a
yeah,
support for proportional
support.
representation. Also, another
Yes,
thing
yes, I
too,
mentioned this in a previous podcast.
yeah. Also, another thing too, um, there's now push for us to rejoin the EU, or even if we can't rejoin, for us to get in back in the single market and get back in the customs union, because apparently when they had the Conservative conference, it was packed to the rafters about for us to get back in the single, was packed to the rafters. Also, there's going to be a march on the 22nd of next Saturday for the rejoin. So it's ramping up. So even though Keir Starmer said he isn't, and I think he's probably saying he isn't, but there's ramping up now. And apparently now the politicians now have they're not physically, they're being verbally abused because people came up to, because apparently people went up to Jacob Rees-Mogg, and this man who I think he suffered from cerebral palsy, he told him that he's nothing but a liar because all he ever do is that he said he helped, and why did he have to it should prove that he's got cerebral palsy and he's nothing but a liar. So basically now I think there's an underground movement that people are
Mm,
fighting back. Also, I think the campaign, not, I'm not sure how. I think they might have reached about 1 million, and also I think what they're ramping up, because I think now they're ramping up because they realize now, they think that now Scotland said it, because Scotland has always said that if they leave the EU, they said they won't have the election, and they won't have a referendum. But if there is if anything fundamentally happens to them, they would have a referendum, and they've always said it. So
mm,
after we left the EU, that's why they were able to ramp up. It was still saying, But now, because the postman strike, the work, everybody now is coming out. There is now a ramp up to there's
Oh
there's
yes,
a ramp.
there was also a post strike. Yes, I forgot about that
Yes,
actually.
yes. So there's a ramp up now, so that because I think that it's now it's dawned on people that if Scotland actually leave, they would be worse off because it will be owned by the billionaires and the Russian and whoever. So now, so what there is now, there's an underground movement now, and what people are doing now, they're not worrying, they're not listening to the politicians. They're taking law into their own hands. Did you hear what happened with the sunflower, the sunflower
Oh,
done
that
right,
thing at the Van Gogh protest. Is that what you're talking
yes,
about?
yes,
Yes, I saw
yes.
that. They
And I
threw, for
was
those of you who
saying and I was
sorry,
saying, yes,
let me just explain for those who don't know. There was an apparent protest at an art gallery where there were climate change activists who threw tomato soup at the
tomato.
Van Gogh painting, but the painting wasn't ruined. But they were basically just saying, well, wasn't it that particular art gallery they take donations from an energy company, right?
Isn't it to take modern or something like that?
Yeah,
I'm not quite
something like
sure. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not sure like this. And I said to myself, and I remember saying, and I said, yes, it is sad, but then again, you give more respect to the paintings and people.
People. Yes, that was
So
the whole point
thingy.
of the
So
protest.
everybody now. So what it
Mm.
is, and what you've got to understand is, everybody knows they're on borrowed time. They all know that. So what they're
Mhm.
doing now is that they're not showing the full news, because when the
Yeah.
last time when
So go
sorry
on. No,
no
go
what
on.
they sorry what they're not doing, they're not showing the full news. They're just showing bits of the news, but they're not showing the full news. And it's only when you're on Facebook or the thing, then we're seeing it, or we're thinking, but they're not showing the full, because they never show you the demonstrations they had against Andrew at Buckingham Palace. They had a lot of
Yeah,
demonstrations.
I remember that. I remember that. I would love to ask you though, Valerie, with all of that in mind, right? All of these things are happening. You've got protests in Scotland, media blackout. Protests against Andrew outside Buckingham Palace, media blackout. How do you think this is going to play out as we go towards the coronation, Charles's coronation?
I personally think that there will be demonstration. I mean, I think, to be honest, what did they have to do to make us watch a funeral?
They had to give blanket coverage.
Yes, they to make us watch that. He remember they said that he said there's not going to have a First of all, they said they're not going to have a. It's not going to be a bank holiday. That's what they said. It won't be a bank
Mm.
holiday on the Monday. So what they're going to do is, if it's a Saturday, you see, the thing is, I personally feel he's going there in dangerous waters, and I'll tell you why. When his mother was anointed, they used the oil from, apparently it's this oil they used, which was David King. When David was anointed, King David was anointed. He is going in there. He's going there as an adulterer, and also his wife is all of them adulterers, and you're there going in. I think, to be honest, I think it would have been better for him. Don't worry with doing a coronation. It's not, because I think that he's going in dangerous waters. I have a funny feeling when his mother was anointed. It was a different time. Her mother was a different woman. She was just married. She was newly married, so and so. But you're going in there, and you said that when you went there, you lied you lied in front of God to say that you're going to be faithful, and your side piece was in the church.
Mm.
And there is a saying, God will not be mocked. And after a while, God does allow certain things to happen for us. He knows that obviously we're going to do, but he's hoping that we might change our behavior. But I just feel, to be honest, it's gonna end very badly for him. Something's I have this sort of, I can't
It's a bad
explain it.
feeling.
Sorry?
You just have like a
you
bad
have
feeling about the whole thing.
in a bad feeling, it's saying, to be honest, even you said up about the mail. You said if there was a class action, that would be, and there's no class action against the mail now?
Yeah. It's like a lot of things are playing out, and yeah, I think you're right. They know both, because I'm a spiritual person, both in the physical world and the spiritual world. It's like there's like the clock is ticking, right? And
Yes,
I
you
think we're
can
gonna
see
see a
it.
lot of them. We're gonna see a lot of them throwing everything at the wall, trying to distract us. But thank you so much, Valerie, for your input as usual. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you, Anne.
No worries. I'm gonna let Marilyn Matthews. I can see you at the bottom of the screen there. Go right ahead, hun.
Yes,
And then
yes,
Flame,
I'm
I'm sorry.
here.
And then Flame, we'll try you again after Marilyn Matthews. Go ahead, Marilyn.
Hello, Duchess, and everybody in the podcast. Happy Friday.
Thank you.
As far as 2 quick points, as far as politics go, I'm a firm believer in you get the government you demand and fight for. Most countries, I don't care where it is, majority rules. And although it's not perfect, that's the system that we live in. That's the world, the global world that we live in, where the majority rules. So you can't give up. You have to just keep being persistent. If voting is the only measure you have to utilize it. You have to utilize whatever tool is there to bring about change. My second point is about William and Kate's mental health forum. And I'm just curious, Duchess, this is a forum, I assume, just predominantly for UK citizens. How do citizens view watching? When I look at Kate, she looks so apathetic. She has that head tilt, like she's totally in another zone, could care less. She recites lines that are clearly something that she's read, but they never really make any strong points, nothing that you can put action to. It's just words. And I notice when there's coverage, it's all like a show thing. There's nothing that seems sincere. They don't come across as a sincere couple. It's just about a series of photo ops. And I'm wondering, do the UK citizens?
Oh, did we lose Marilyn? Marilyn? Marilyn?
I'm
Okay,
here.
I
Can you
think
hear me?
what okay. Say that very last bit where you were gonna say, do I think that the UK citizens, and then you cut.
Are they keyed in when they watch these performances? Do they feel any type of sincerity from Will and Kate? Or do they see it like the rest of the world sees it, like it's all for show? They don't come across sincere in anything. There's never been something that I've seen where they come across as really sincere with action. It's just like they get up, recite some words, and okay, let's go on to the next meeting. And I'm just wondering, do the UK citizens see it like the rest of the world? Like it seems fake and staged.
No, I think you have the camp that of people that we're in right here in the UK. We can see it for what it is, but I don't necessarily think that like we're the majority. And then I think the overwhelming majority are people who are just ambivalent. They kind of like know that the royals are there. They have some kind of sense of national pride about it. But then you also do have the people who are completely in fraud, and you talk to them and they're like, oh, but it's the fairy tale that we have, and I think that they have internalized the press idea of what they've been sold about William and Kate and their marriage. And because Kate, quote unquote, never steps a foot wrong, and she's there and she smiles, and you see her in all the pictures just smiling, never making any noise about anything. It's like there's nothing you can really say about Kate, and that's kind of I guess the power of her image, because it's like she's never said anything that would really cause any controversy. But I think if you're the type of person that kind of sees the full picture for what it is, sometimes even her silence becomes a weapon. Like, you know, when she didn't say anything about Meghan being bullied by the press, while also being an advocate for, you know, maternal sorry, for women and babies. So I think because so many people are kind of ambivalent about it, they either just let it go on and run in the background, or they just believe what it is that the media has told them. I don't think they take the deeper look that all of us in this space do. Sorry, I rambled a bit there, but I hope that kind of answered your question. Oh, Marilyn, are you still there? Oh, Marilyn kicked out. I hope I did answer her question though. Marilyn, you're free to come back in and finish off what you had to say if you want to. Educate too. Hello. Hi, Han.
Who?
Hello. Hi, I can hear you now.
You, me? Educate?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go right ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No worries.
The phone kind of went out. Well, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
You know, to you and all the squatties. But you know, talking about politics. What the young lady was saying with President Obama having to come in and clean up everything that was happening. You know, he was left with 2 wars and a collapse in the economy, which actually collapsed everybody's economy all over the world. It wasn't just ours. And then for the Republicans, you know, you take an oath to uphold the Constitution, but they met and took an oath that they would not help him, which to me would have been grounds for impeachment of senators. But that didn't happen. But his slogan was "Yes, we can." That was the slogan through the whole, you know, campaign. And when he won the nomination, he said, you know, like, don't go home and sit on the couch.
Yeah.
And what happened was people went home and sat on the couch. And the people who stayed, they got what they wanted. They pushed through what they wanted. Everything that was pushed through was for the people who stayed and fought for that. And with, you know, they made themselves present. Everybody's looking for a savior.
Do you feel though, Educate, do you feel it's because though that people maybe first and foremost don't even know how to get started? Like, you know, there's no maybe from an educational level, like in schools and college, like they don't, first of all, they don't really know like their first point of call, like where, you know, where do I go to get started? And even if I did get started, you know, how do I make myself heard? And um you know, how, or also, you know, as somebody that does pay attention to politics personally, as much as I would love to make a change, when the way I see how politics has gotten so nasty, that when you are a person who is as a public figure and is very heavily involved in politics, the way you are just attacked and with social media now, do you think that's also a part of it? It's not necessarily that people went and sat down. Maybe they did actually go and sit down and make a plan, and they looked at everything and went, no, this is too much, this is exhausting, I'm going to lose my mind. Do you
Yeah,
think
well,
that's
that's
also part of it?
election after election. You know, they do that, and then they sit down, and it's like you thought this man was going to change almost 300 years of history in 4 years. You know, he didn't do this for us. He didn't do that for us. He didn't do this for us. He's the president, and it's 3 branches of government. And then that's the breakdown of education. Because when I went to school in the 50s and the 60s, I went to high school in the 60s. We were taught the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. We had to recite it. You know, you had to know it. You couldn't get out of school if you know, good citizenship. If you failed in citizenship, you could not graduate out of high school. And that was the catalyst for the civil rights movement, for the women's movement, for the affirmative action, for everything that was going on in the 60s. I mean, it just broke down walls. But you know what? They took that out of the school system. They took civics out of education. It's like, no, we can't have another generation coming up knowing what their rights are.
How to get in, yeah. So, okay, so for anybody who's listening right now and they're just thinking, do you know what? I'm fed up of politics. I don't even want to get involved.
Mhm.
What's the number one thing that you would say to them? What can they do right now? What would be the first step for them?
It's just your local politics.
Yeah.
What goes on in your neighborhood? There's so many things that are in communities because it starts there.
Mhm.
And we have like a lot of the youth, because a lot of them are doing that.
Mhm.
And they have band together and they have joined. We have a group out here in Far Rock. I'm in New York on the coast, on the beach. And they petition and like they work, they got their own library. Like they needed a library for teens, that to address what they needed in school and everything else. They have their own magazine that they put out. They have a farmers market that they started. It's just like you start the grassroots.
Yeah,
You have to
at the
you have to go
grassroots.
directly to the
Yeah.
people and to their hearts. You have to go directly to them, and then they build up and build up. This it's maybe because I grew up in a whole political age and with a family. This is what all we talk about. So it's it's a little different when people are kind of disillusioned, about what's going on.
Oh,
But I
thank you
look at
so
the
much
young
for that.
people, it's the youth because
Yeah,
the youth they're going to take it forward. We did what we could do,
yeah. And
for
now
our
it's for
time.
them to, yeah,
Yeah,
now it's for the youth to take it forward.
yeah,
Thank you
because
so
they
much
have
for
all the
that,
tools.
educate.
Yeah, they have all the
Yeah,
tools.
all the
Yeah.
tools. Right.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. No worries, hon. Okay, Flame, I'm gonna let you try again.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi. Okay, I can hear you a
Can
little
you?
bit better now. Yes, that's
Okay,
that's a lot better.
great, great. Hi, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. Is this your first time joining the live?
It is my first time, and I heard
Yes.
you invite us. I always listen to your podcast and Barron's podcast, and so I heard you
Thank
invite
you.
us to come on, jump in, jump in. So I worked up
Yes.
my courage, and I decided I would. So
Oh, thank you so much. Go right ahead. You're very welcome here.
she was right, the last lady, about politics being local. A lot of people don't understand. They think I voted for my president or the senator and the governor, I'm done. No, no. Politics is local. You got to vote starting off where it affects you most. The state attorney general is going to put forth the laws and stand up for the laws that you want in your community. The secretary of state to make sure the voting is counted. You got these election deniers running, to control state government. So if they decide they don't like the outcome, they'll just turn it. You got a Supreme Court that might be on the verge of passing a decision for I cannot think of the legal moot doctrine that they're trying to push for the states to be able to just decide who won the election and the courts can't overrule them. So you have to pay attention. I know they could be disheartened. I mean, I've been doing it a long time. I'm older than all of you. So, but you have to keep fighting. I think the thing that's better for the younger people is because they have it can be used for bad, but they have the social internet that they can use, and they know how to use it very savvily. I mean, I look at the young ladies in Iran; they're all interconnected with their peers, and that's wonderful. And we didn't have that in
Mhm.
our age. So and they have the spirit. They've had to have it. I mean, I'm a black woman growing up in the United States of America, and I have to say, I didn't have it as bad as the younger ones now. I mean, they can't even go to school. We used to enjoy our peers and have fun at school. We didn't have what is it, active shooter drills, and the little
Mhm.
baby that said she covered herself in her best friend's blood and pretended to be dead so the shooter wouldn't kill her too. That's what they have to face in their everyday life. So
Mm.
we just have to get on the ball, and we just have to get out there, and we have to fight. You have to start locally, I think.
Oh, thank you so much for that, Flame. And where are you based? Can I ask?
South Padre Island, Texas.
In Texas, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And because I just love asking Americans like how did you feel about the 2 weeks of Lizzie's funeral?
Uh, Mostly it was like, why? What are they doing? What century is that? Oh my God! I mean, it was like it was a culture shock.
Mm,
I'll speak for the black people here. The only royal we have ever liked and admired was Diana
mm,
because she was a real person. She tried to help. She was hugging AIDS victims. She was over there worrying about poor little black people getting blown up with the landmines. I mean, she was a real. If there was ever a true life, real embodiment of what a princess should be, she was pretty much it. So we had no, and America was born from people trying to fight until they die to get rid of them, to be free of them. So, we white or black people didn't really have much use for it, but we are fans of Prince Harry and Meghan. Prince
yeah.
Harry apparently has, inherited his mother's care for people and wanting to make
Mm,
things better. You know what I mean? And
mm,
so and the way they treated them was shameful. So I
mhm.
don't know how much longer the monarchy really has. You know,
Yes.
I, but
Well,
on a
thank you so
happier
much.
note,
Oh yeah.
I'm
Oh,
glad
go
that
on.
you're there. I said on a happier note, I'm glad that you're there. I'm not a podcast person or really I'm into social media, but I never thought I would think about starting a channel. I did. I have to give a props to the original OGs, Tina and Michelle, because I didn't even know there was
Mhm,
a problem. And I thought the problem would be better once they
mm,
left. And then when I saw it was getting worse, I was going through my own things with my
yeah.
husband being sick. So I couldn't jump in then, but it hasn't gotten really a lot better. And all they're trying to do is help people. And there was
Yeah.
you. And when I first started getting, there was you, there was Tina and Michelle, there was Megapedia, and there was Sussex Set. That's all there were. And you two,
Mm.
you are all like OGs, Tina and Michelle being the most. But I just wanted to say props and thanks to all of you and the rest of us. We're going to try to jump in as soon as we work up more courage and
Oh
help
no,
you
do
out.
it. Do it, do it, do it. And I didn't okay, a lot of people don't actually know this, but I worked quite a bit behind the scenes with Tina and Michelle before I started this podcast. I used to do a lot of the blog posts, the graphics,
Mm.
actually the newsletter. I used to do the newsletter for those
Ooh,
of you that used to get
wow.
the
That was
newsletter.
a beautiful newsletter.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was you. Wow. Wow.
Thank you. Yeah.
Wow.
So, I started, kind of learning the ropes by working with them. And actually, even before I started the podcast, I just started an Instagram page. So I didn't even jump on
Mm.
doing a podcast straight away. So even if it's just like an Instagram page or like a Twitter page where you want to get your thoughts out and get feedback, just do it. Just start it. Start somewhere because like I said the other day, the more of us, the better. And it, in time, some of us, will move on to other things and we will need other people to keep going. So I
Right,
encourage you
right.
100% playing.
Well, I have tried to start. I'm just getting started. I called it. I have a little name for it already. Don't laugh. I
Mhm.
wanted to join him to Sussex Fest, so I've called it Sussex Love. And so I have a
Love
little
it.
picture. I have a little picture of them. And so I think I put up one little video using an avatar because I had no idea what format I wanted to use. Because, like I said, my field is like allied health. I do physical therapy, so this is totally out of my realm. So I started with a little avatar. Well, you're busy, but I mean, I'm just saying. So I did. I am trying to start it.
Yeah.
So wish me luck.
Yeah. No, I wish you luck and we will definitely be here to support. Thank you so much, Flame.
Thank you.
All right. So what I'm gonna do, okay, there's a couple of you still in the back end. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go down the line. You each have exactly 2 minutes. Anything you want to say, politics, the royals, and then we will call it an evening. All right. So 2 minutes, everyone. Right, Karen, go.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah. Well, Yeah, what I wanted to talk about is in regards to them using Archie's birthday for the coronation. I know
Okay.
I had really Rahini didn't know about it. So when I spoke to her, we talk about it. I basically had to pull her down off the wall because she was so upset about it.
Mm.
And like my take on this is looking at what they did to them at the funeral,
Mm.
and the embarrassment and everything that they were trying to to bring on them at the funeral. Like, why would they go for more? Like, why would they show up on their son's birthday, or even have their kids there for this kind of behavior to go on in front of
Yeah.
them? It's like, why would someone put themselves in that position for more? Like, enough is enough. I understand that you know they took those positions because of the queen, and when she was alive, and her funeral. Like, that's the end. That should be the end. Like, enough is enough. Like, Harry has
Mm.
to put his foot down. We are not doing this. Okay, we're not doing this. I'm not putting my wife through this, because the funeral alone brought up all the old stuff, and putting her in that
Yeah.
situation. You see her face when she came out on the walkabout. You see her face at the funeral thing. It's that whole thing came all back again, and now bringing their kids into it. It's, like, enough is enough. It's got to stop somewhere,
Mm.
so
Mm.
it's just too much. And
Yeah.
it's not even just them. It's even taking a toll on us, having to see them going through this over and over again, and having to see Megan being put in this position over and over again. Okay, and their kids are getting older, and for us to having to see that, it affects us as well too. Knowing that they
Yeah.
keep pulling this. The same thing Charles did with Harry and William, using them.
Mm.
Okay, when he needs publicity, he used those kids. Now he's turning to the grandkids and doing the same thing. Why didn't you put it on William's kid's birthday? Why didn't you use their birthday? Okay,
Mm.
why are you pulling? There's, it's just ridiculous. It's just an
The
on and
games
on,
that they
you know,
the games that they
you know.
play. Well, thank you so much, Karen. And yeah, you're
You're
right.
welcome.
What I don't believe for a second that it was by accident. No way it can be. But thank you so much, Karen. Have a lovely
Not a problem.
weekend.
You too. Take care. Okay, bye.
Thank you. Bye. Oh, before I go on to the next guest, I just want to say thank you so much for Gloria Brown for joining the membership. Thank you so much, darling. Much appreciated. All right, Lauren, go, sweetheart. 2 minutes. Oh,
Thank you for the
oh,
compliment you
sorry,
gave me at
sorry.
the Hello?
So I couldn't hear you at the beginning. Start again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Hello? Okay, great.
Yeah,
What I
yeah,
was
I can
going
hear
to
you. I
say
can hear you.
is okay. What I was going to say is you gave me a nice compliment at the beginning of my last moment. So I just wanted to return that and just tell you how beautiful your author photo looks on your page, and your book is excellent. Um,
Oh,
and
thank you.
Absolutely. And so again, I'm looking at my points here. One of them was you have really good cheekbones. Okay. So the other point,
There
I'm
are my
not trying to like
my cheekbones
go
on the
past it.
screen and my book.
Yeah, man. Okay. So yeah, but as you mentioned something in your book that I actually think applies to the monarchy. And this was in one of
Okay.
your like reality check sections where you talk about the need to basically be kind of adaptable, that internal change and seeing things as an adventure is kind of how you get the most out of a thing. And I
Mm.
think that's the exact attitude that the monarchy would need to have. I'm not saying that I support the monarchy continuing. I think I've made my point clear in the last moment, but that idea of being so constantly afraid of internal change is causing them to, as Karen said, attack the Sussexes, which is not a good look for them. It's also causing them to not see the changing tide, the way that people in Wales and Scotland, sorry for any background noise, Wales and Scotland are feeling. There are things that can be done to appeal to I'm gonna actually go on mute because I have a lot of noise back here. Sorry.
All right.
Okay. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, sorry, that was a fire truck. I didn't want to
All
hurt
right.
people's ears. Yeah, but that idea of being adaptable, being changeable, yes, they're a long-term institution and they're what, 1,000 plus years old, but there are so many things that I think Megan was showing them that had they just, you know, been accepting of it, so many more people would be accepting of them. So I really genuinely, I see what they're doing right now as harm. I see the fact that they
Mm.
harming themselves and harming, like Karen said, the viewers. And as far as that coronation on Archie's birthday, oh, there goes the fire truck. Let me make this quick. I just
All
think
right.
that Archie's birthday is wow. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh gosh, there's something that there's a thought that you sparked in my head, Lauren. Actually, it's gone now. Oh yes. So to what you said about them not accepting change. I don't know if you've
Mhm.
seen the recent documentary, the HBO, the Diana one, which they use like the archival footage, and they
Mhm.
actually put Diana talking over a piece of footage of the royals, and this is like when the Queen Mother was still alive. They're dancing, and it was like a very old fashioned kind of way, at a very traditional kind of ball, and you hear Diana's voice over that footage saying, "I know that change is scary, but sometimes you do need to look within and
Mhm.
look within, but also look externally," and or something along the lines of that. So what you were saying, like in regards to my book, and thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's if they want to survive, change has to be a language they start to understand because it's actually
Yes.
literally the law of the universe, entropy, etc.
Yeah.
Also, my last point is just wanted to say, Rahini, just if you find a way, please let us know how we can
Mm.
help. I'm very
Yes.
sorry for your circumstances. And thank you, Anne, for this platform. I will mute for real now.
No
Thanks.
worries. Thank you so much, Lauren, and thank you so much for buying my book. Oh, and don't forget to email me, please. Thank you. Um, okay. Rahini, give you 2 minutes. Go, hun.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you now.
Yes, oh my goodness. Karen had to virtually hold me back because I was so mad. I was I'm a little lower because I'm at work, so I can't be all heated at work and start to use, not so Christian languages. I am listen, this just it reminded me of when they accidentally removed her name from his birth
Yeah,
certificate. And this
yeah.
seems like in real time we are watching them trying to change history by trying to
Mm,
erase this little boy. But to all the haters in the chat, because we know y'all are here, okay? Because y'all have nothing else to do. Because Prince Peggy and his
Oh
first
gosh.
wife isn't doing anything interesting for you to watch. So you're here. Please go and tell these individuals that they do that trying to steal the thunder of a 4-year old is not the flex that you want. It is not. It looks petty, and it is as if he's sending a message to Harry, I don't really want you to come.
Mm,
That's how I got it, because the tabloid Sky News is already reporting that it's a snub with their sources. Why would you do this? This is your grandson. You know what would have made him look wonderful, Prince Charles. Prince Charles, so all of his um courtiers are probably here listening because they're here. We know they're listening. What would have been nice if you said, you know what? We're going to throw Archie a birthday party. And it's going to be a birthday party with all the little needy children, and he's going to celebrate. So it's going to be Archie's party. It's going to be King Charles and the children. That is a
but
PR flex you could do before, because that
but
makes
if
sense.
they'd done that, if they had done that, the isn't that also kind of putting Harry and Meghan in a awkward position? Because then it's like, oh, okay, if they were going to do a party like that, and then let's say that Harry and Meghan don't bring the children, and then it becomes Harry and Meghan didn't bring the children to the party that Charles wanted
Well,
to
this
throw.
is the thing. I am pretty sure that the Sussexes did not know they were going to do it until it was announced, right? And if this is your plan, you consult with them. But again, according to all the royal sources, that according to Baron, the photoshopped photograph of
Oh yeah.
the new drab four
Oh my gosh.
is the
Do you know
message that she puts out there. So this is your new family now, right? So you've
when Baron
completely
said that,
disowned.
sorry, when
You've
Baron
come.
said that, like I literally couldn't unsee it.
Do you know what I mean? So that was the message you put out. You didn't consult. You didn't think about it. You didn't think about it. And another reason why I believe that this is an attempt to erase the only multiracial children from the royal family. I think it is in Windsor Castle that for all the members on the line of succession, they ring a bell on specific days. On their birthdays and on the coronation, they ring that bell. So on that day, who you ringing the bell for?
For
Who you ringing
Charles.
the bell for? Do you understand me? Who you ringing the
Mm,
bell for? So you see,
mm.
this is why I was up the wall. She had to hold me back on WhatsApp virtually. I was so mad. How do you do that? How do you do this as a grandfather? Grandparents are supposed to be better to their grandkids than to you. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
But this is not the
very,
flex you want. It is not the
yeah,
flex you want. It's
it's
not. It's
not.
horrible. It's horrible. And if
Well,
I was what were the Sussexes, we were gonna go to Disney World. We were going to
uh,
Disney World on that day. And I wouldn't even make any statements at all. No statements. They would just see me in Disney World. I'm muting my mic now.
thank you so much, Rahini. I feel like the squad, as always, will like make sure that we do our fundraiser and we do something like positive. And do you know what? We have to make it the biggest thing that we've ever done now. But thank you so much, Rahini. All right. TCC Sun, there's something wrong with your device. So there's two more people before you. If you could just sort out your device, or else I won't be able to let you on. All right, Educate you. I'll let you give your final thoughts.
Oh, okay. As far as the coronation, right, and on Archie's birthday, Prince Archie's birthday, he's only going to have one coronation,
Mhm.
and after that, Archie's going to have many more birthdays.
Mhm.
And even though that's what they're trying to do, like erase him, but I don't even think that can be done anymore. It's just too many sources of information you don't have control of. I mean, it's not the newspapers anymore. It's not the town crier, you know? It's this whole new age, and it won't be erased. But
Mm.
I was looking up the word firm. They call themselves the firm, right?
Mhm.
It means securely fixed in place, not likely to change, steadfast or unwavering. And they say they are the firm. They've been doing this for thousands of years. And so far it's worked, but it's slowly, I mean, the empire is shrinking.
Yes.
It was the largest empire on the planet between them and the Spanish. It is like now it's dwindling down closer and closer just to the British Isles. And I think
Mm.
Scotland and Wales and Ireland, they know this. And it's like, I want to get off now.
Yeah. Yeah. Get off the
I want to
sinking
get off
ship,
now. I
basically.
don't want to be part of what's getting ready to happen, because it's shrinking. And the more it shrinks, the more they're going to try to hold, their own people. They may not control out as much as they used to, but they definitely want to still hold on to home front. They really do.
Mhm.
And I don't know. It's just history in the making. That's all I can say. It's like right before our eyes.
Yes, indeed. And it's what an amazing time to be alive to witness it. Thank you so
It really
much,
is.
Educate.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, Flame, you, my lovely, are going to take us out today. Give us your final thoughts.
Can you? I think I was listening to what she was saying about it being a snub, them not coming. I'm really not convinced that Harry and Meghan didn't tell them that they weren't coming back. You know, I'm not sure it's not them saving face, because there's a story about William. Uh, will they meet up with Harry and Meghan when he happens to be in New York with Meghan and Harry get their
Oh, yeah.
award?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what they're doing, but I know that the positivity that's around Meghan and Harry is there for a reason. I'm a spiritual person. I believe in God, you know, and so there are things that we cannot do that is not within our control, whether you believe in God or you don't. There are things that are not within our control, and sometimes things are moved that we don't have the power to move. So they go on faith and their love and trying to help people, which is why I want to support them and the things that they're doing to help people. And people have to do that in their own lives. Reach out to your neighbor, you know, and keep it moving, because we have to do this together. That's the only alternative we have. And in America, we have to fight for our democracy, because as Jefferson, I think it was, said, it's a wonderful thing if you can keep it, and it's very fragile. And we are learning that here, and we are fighting for it. And you know, stay tuned. The midterms are coming. Pray for us, the
Yeah.
rest of the world. Pray for us here in America.
Oh, pray for you, and pray for us too. I mean, we're going through a similar thing, and thank you so much for that, Flame. Um, thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. Thank you, everyone. You have been amazing today, as always. I love the way you always articulate your thoughts. I love that we had a bit of a different conversation today, also about politics, and yes, that ties in with the royals. But it's nice to talk about some of these things um, as standalone topics, because they are important, and outside of our little royal bubble, there are many other important things happening as well. One thing that I wanted to ask you all, and when actually Lauren commented on my book, would any of you be interested? Because November's coming up, right? So November is actually NaNoWriMo. It's National Writing Month. And writing, telling your story, is so powerful. It's such a powerful thing. It's very much an important thing. And you know, we've seen that with Harry and Meghan. But even on an individual level, to tell our stories, especially those of us who've had our stories told by other people, the working class, women, people of color. So I am offering, if anybody is interested, do you want to do like a squaddy workshop, like a writing workshop? So you know, getting into writing, how to write and structure a book, anything kind of like along those lines. It'll be completely separate from any of the royal stuff. It will just be like a fun, like a fun squaddy meetup, all about writing. So if anybody's interested in doing something like that, please do let me know in the comments. But with that, thank you everyone, as always, for coming today. Lovely chat. Thank you to the mods. I've had a couple of trolls in here. We know they love us. We know they we live rent free in their minds, but it's been an amazing podcast nonetheless. So I'll get through any of the last comments streaming through, and then we'll call it a day. Thank you, everyone. All right. Patricia, in Britain, he may very well be never with the millions of squaddies. So I'm not quite sure what you were referring to there. Yes, Valerie, we are praying. Lord help us. Oh, Kat Harlem, hello. Thank you so much for the super chat. You said I'm late to the party. I think the sorry, is that meant to be I think the Sussex Squad should stop spreading the rotor stories. Therefore, I won't be discussing Harry and Meghan attending, not attending the coronation, why they picked Archie's birthday for coronation. Oh, that's fair enough, Kat Harlem. I know that it does get very annoying sometimes with these royal rotor stories. But you know what? And I completely understand where you're coming from. But I also do think that sometimes there is value in mentioning these things because, you know, every single podcast that gets made, not just on my platform, but all of the other platforms as well, we're creating almost like a record for history. And people are going to see one day how these issues were discussed, how, you know, we as individuals in this kind of, I guess you could say, alternative community of news that we've created, how we discuss these issues versus how the mainstream media discuss these issues. So it's like we're leaving a trail of receipts, and I think that is important also. But I 100% also see, you know, where you're coming from. It does get very tiring, but we're moving into what would have been Sussex September, Sussex October. We're moving into Harry and Meghan doing some amazing things, and I do believe going forward now there will actually be a lot more positive things to talk about than what there has been, especially this last month. Thank you so much for coming, Maggie. I hope you. I'm glad you enjoyed the podcast. Laura and NaNoWriMo, are you taking part? Have you got an idea for a book to write? Mystery Talks, you'd love to write a life story. Do it. I honestly believe that everybody should try to write at least one book in their lifetime. Just try. There's so many options for self-publishing now. You don't even need a publisher. Okay, so we are definitely a yes, some of you, for the writing workshop. Yes, it will be a free workshop. I won't charge for it. I love writing, and that'll be like my gift to you as a community. All right, Elaine Parker, I'm going to give you the last word of the day. Good night and God bless, my friends. God bless indeed. Everything's going to be all right, everyone. Good vibes only, and let's not worry too much, okay? Right, let's dance our way out. Have a great weekend, everyone. Ciao.
Everybody's saying that I lost my mind, but I ain't never ever given up this time. 'Cause everybody knows that I've been on the grind, but I ain't never ever given up this time. Up this time. Up this time. Up, 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 up.
You're already there, literally on the street, arguing about Meghan Markle. She's here successful. She's here successful. She's here successful.